Well, definitely talent made me want to work with him. Like, you know, if you've met him and you've interviewed him, you know why. When you see the film, you'll know why. I got to sit down and interview him for the first time. The first time I spoke to him, I was just blown away by his worldview and his resilience and his, you know, outlook on life. And so it was something that I wanted to work with in terms of like, I wanted to spend more time with him, number one, and then also I wanted to figure out how I could help him. You know, I could see this sort of drive and this passion and this like really good heart, like super good heart and really good intention. And so it was, you know, how could I support him in doing what he did, because I knew that his heart would speak to other people's hearts. We met through my friend Tammy Smith. She's in the film. She's a friend of mine from back home, a pro surfer. And she called me and asked if I would make him a short little profile video that would basically, we could send to sponsors to try to get him, you know, sponsored for the skateboarding. And I sat down and I did the first interview with him, and I just kind of couldn't, you know, I couldn't just walk away and not do something more. I did that first video and the first interview, and he, you know, he opened my mind to a lot of ideas, a lot of thinking, and the question went round in my head and I needed to figure it out. Skateboarding is like any art form. To me, it's like exactly as creative as any other art form. Music, filmmaking, you know, painting. It's all sort of how you interpret the world, you know, and it's your expression of what's inside, and it's who you are, you know. So it's an expression of who you are, and talent on a skateboard was this perfect expression of who he is. It's the place that he felt most comfortable, and yeah, it's beautiful to see him create when he's on a board, when he's doing his thing, and it's beautiful to see all the different skateboarders that we met along the way, or that are part of the film. Like, they all have something that's unique and individual, and it's not about one trick or another, but like what they, you know, if you can do this trick or that trick, but it's like how you do it, how you interpret it, how you like look at a landscape and reimagine it from a perspective of what you could do on a skateboard. So it's really, it's super cool from that. Colin is definitely, I don't know where he is. I'd love to pull him into this conversation, but Colin, well, first of all, Thalente had met Tony Hawk before himself, but Colin Kennedy, who's my producer, was one of the first people I reached out to when I decided I wanted to try to figure this film out and, you know, figure out how to help Thalente. And he literally just like guided me through the process, because Colin had worked in skateboarding for 20 years, his whole life, you know, since he was a kid, and he was a skate filmer. He's the creative director at the Berrics, and he is loved and respected, massively respected. So Colin started opening doors, introduced us to Kenny. You know, we just sat down and brainstormed, and then you know, other times it was like we bumped into Lance Mountain at a skate park when Thalente was teaching some kids, and Lance watched Thalente and was like, "Who are you? Like, I want to know more." And then like Tony saw that Thalente was in town in LA, and he reached out. He was like, "What? You know, you're here. Like, let's meet up." So it was just, you know, this was a community-made film, like communities, like supported from the community from within. And, you know, Thalente, like, I think represents kind of the heart of the heart of the culture. So I think people just gravitated towards him. So it was a no-brainer. That wasn't difficult at all. You can find me on social media at Dig for Fire on Twitter and Nat Johns on Instagram. I'm Natalie Johns, and you've just been buzzed.